Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a quick recap of the books I've read during Neurovember. So in total, I think we can count 6 books read for this year's Neurovember, which I'm quite happy about. And I've already talked quite a bit about most of those books in my previous reading vlog / updates that I've published throughout the month. So I will go about those a bit more quickly. But let's start from the beginning. So the first book I read in November was Alone with You in the Ether by Olivie Blake. This was a buddy read I did with Kat over at The Cat Bite. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good book, but there were, I think, 2 main challenges for me. The first one is that so the book is divided in different sections, and the second section I absolutely loved. I thought it was incredibly well done. I was very impressed with the writing in this section, and so that raised the bar quite high for me, and unfortunately I didn't feel that the rest of the book completely lived up to that expectation that I had. So my reading experience went kind of really peaking quite early and then just like not kind of keeping up that momentum. The second thing is probably me having the wrong expectations from this book. I was expecting some speculative fiction because from what I had heard about Olivie Blake as an author, it seemed to me that she was very much writing fantasy, and because there is talk about time travel in this book, one of the characters is studying and trying to solve the mystery of time travel. I thought that would come into play and that there would be again some speculative elements to the story, which there aren't. And so again, that creating wrong expectations from me, and in the end the book wasn't really what I was expecting or what I was looking for in that moment, again because I had this idea in mind. The other thing is about the style of the writer. I think she's very skilled. She has a way with words. She's clearly a very good writer, but at the same time there were moments where she made kind of storytelling choices or narration choices that I didn't fully understand, and that felt a bit gimmicky for me. I'm all for a quirky type of narration, but for me it needs to serve the story and it needs to have a clear purpose. And reading the book, for me it felt more like that she was doing it because she was finding it fun to write that way. So that's kind of overall my review. Again, I think there is so much potential from that writer. I think she could write incredible things, but this book didn't kind of fully deliver for me. Next, I read a French comic book that is available in English. It's been translated into English. It's The Invisible Difference, and it's a kind of memoir from a young woman who is not really fitting in and is having kind of difficulties in her life until she discovers and gets an autism diagnosis. It was a quick, fun, entertaining read. I did enjoy it, but I didn't learn anything groundbreaking. Nothing was completely new to me, so I do appreciate reading kind of memoirs and learning about the experiences of other neurodivergent writers and people. So I did appreciate this book for that, but again, not groundbreaking, not a new favorite. Then I read Six of Crows, and very quickly after that, Crooked Kingdom, and I absolutely loved it. So this is a fantasy heist where we are following a cast of 6 main characters, some having kind of very different political positions in this world, and a lot of kind of fun dynamics between the group. And again, I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I have heard so many good things about this book, and it always makes me a little bit nervous because then I come in with some high expectations and I'm always worried to be disappointed, and that was not the case here. I enjoyed the first book, the heist story. I thought it was really fun. I think it's an actual real heist because Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson is also kind of pitched as a fantasy heist, and you do have elements of a heist story, but I don't think it does fulfill it. This one does. Like, you have a full heist kind of fantasy Ocean 11 situation, and it was a lot of fun. I kind of saw a little bit the strings that the other was pulling, and like from reading from a writer's perspective, that was quite interesting. I didn't mind. It was fun to see how she was planting this thing and where this was going, so I did enjoy that. The second book though, I absolutely loved. I enjoyed it even more than the first book. I thought the kind of the work that she started with the character arcs and the character relationship was pushed much further in the second book, and that made it even more enjoyable for me. There were things that I didn't see coming. This one surprised me actually, and I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. I love the characters. I love kind of the different arcs going on. And yeah, I mean, I would say my only criticism is that how are those characters 16 to 18 years old? Like, it's that's just I completely disregarded that part, because like it says they're very young and everything, but the ages didn't make sense to me that they would be able to pull off those kind of things and have such already rich lives from before at being barely teenagers, and not really adults yet. So I just kind of disregarded that part, and it was otherwise again such a fun time. I had a blast reading those, so I'm so happy that I finally got to the duology and that it didn't disappoint. From the Neurovember angle, I think Crooked Kingdom probably works even better for the theme of the event. So you have a character who clearly had, well, probably all of them have past traumas, and so you see how they're dealing with that. One of the character has a gambling addiction, so you see also that aspect. I think it's touched upon a little bit more in the second book, but basically all those characters are struggling with mental health issues, and so that very much fits within the theme of Neurovember. Then I read another nonfiction book, which is This Is What It Sounds Like by Susan Rogers and Ogie Ogas, and this is a book about what in music kind of pleases your brain, and kind of understanding the different aspects of music that might be appealing to you, and kind of building your listener profile. I thought that was an interesting read. I was slightly disappointed. I felt that I didn't really get what I was hoping to from the book to a degree. Again, I have a whole video dedicated to that book, so I won't go into too much details, but there were still bits that I found super interesting, and that I still learned quite a bit from that book. It wasn't just the slam dunk that I was hoping it would be. And then the final book I read for Neurovember was Gifted and Talented by Olivie Blake. So I kind of bookended the month with Olivie Blake books in terms of my Neurovember reading. Gifted and Talented is a novel following 3 siblings whose dad just passed away, and their dad is the CEO of a huge, powerful company. The main mystery in the book is which one of those 3 siblings is going to inherit the company. So this book does have some speculative elements, contrary to Alone With You in the Ether. Each of the 3 siblings has a different kind of magical power, and it was a bit odd because it seems to be that like kind of magic is known in the world. Their dad's company is based on some kind of magic. It's not really clear what it is. It feels like basically the internet is magic in this world. That's my understanding, but I didn't think the world building in that realm was super clear to me. That being said, so those 3 siblings have powers, but they don't really talk about it. It's not really public, and it's a bit secret. So how prevalent is magic in this world? That was a bit confusing to me. Overall, I think I had a similar-ish experience with this book as I did with Alone With You in the Ether, although I think I enjoyed this one overall more. I think the beginning was excellent. I wrote in my note that this writer's mastery was dizzying. I felt very much in the presence of an incredibly skillful narrator and writer. And you start the book, you're kind of bombarded with information. Like, you're just thrown into the midst of the story, and you feel that the narrator knows so much about the characters, the kind of the events of the story. Like, they're presented as an omniscient narrator, and you very much feel that, to the point that it can feel a bit much, and you feel like the narrator is not waiting for you to just have to run along and try to keep up, which I really didn't mind, because you also feel that the narrator is very, again, skillful. Like, you are in good hands, so you kind of trust the narration. And unfortunately, I didn't feel that this kind of magic in the storytelling kept up through the whole book. And probably it can't, because again, when you start, you're trying to find your bearings, you're trying to situate yourself in the story. And so as you go on, you will have a better understanding of who's who, what's going on, the different dynamics. And so that feeling is not going to be lasting for the 500 pages, that's obvious. But I would hope that another kind of narrative magic trick would happen that would kind of dazzle me and take me along for the rest of the ride, and that didn't fully happen. I thought the tone was really fun. There were a lot of things that were really well done. This is very much a character-driven book, and so it was interesting to get into the heads of those different characters that are not very likable, and not all of them are good people, but still, like, kind of understanding the mechanism of their brains and the different dynamics between the different characters. That was really cool. That was really well done. I don't know, there's just some, like, you can see that I'm struggling to talk about this book, because there are moments where I'm really in awe of this writer's skills, and I'm really impressed, and I think she could completely blow me away. And then it doesn't fully happen, and I'm left with the feeling that her books are not really for me, which is probably the most disappointing part, because again, I feel like she has the skills to just write the book that will kind of rock my life completely, and it doesn't get there. So that's the disappointing part, I think, again, because I'm having high expectations, like, from the beginning of the book. Yeah, I think there are choices in the book that I'm just like, okay, fine, not a big fan of it. Some bits are a little bit random, if voluntarily absurd, I would say, and again, not really my thing. So yeah, there is this kind of disconnect here for me with those books, but I do understand that for some other people, they might absolutely love the book and have a grand time with it. So I do get it. I just feel like it doesn't fully matches my taste, is probably what I'm getting at. So those were all the 6 books I read for Neurovember. I'm very curious to know what you read for the event. If you participated, don't remember that we have a giveaway this year for the event. You just need to send me an email with a screenshot of a post that you did about the event and just a couple of lines to tell me about what you read for it. All the information is in the document linked in the description. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.